Your iPhone just became way smarter, and Apple thinks this is the year Siri finally works the way you always wanted it to. I'm Chuck Goetschel. This is AI in 10. What happened, why it matters, what you can do with it. Let's go. Earlier this week at their developer conference, Apple unveiled what they're calling Siri AI. Not just a small update, a complete rebuild of the assistant that's been frustrating iPhone users for over a decade. Here's what changed. The new Siri can actually have conversations instead of just answering single commands. It can see what's on your screen and help you with whatever you're looking at. And it can take actions across your apps instead of just opening them for you. Think of it this way. Old Siri was like having an intern who could only follow very specific instructions. New Siri is more like having a capable assistant who can figure out what you actually want to accomplish. Apple says you can now ask Siri things like, help me plan this weekend, and it will look at your calendar, check the weather, maybe suggest restaurants based on your location. Or you can show it a document and ask for feedback. Or tell it to summarize the messages you missed while you were in a meeting. The key difference is context. Previous versions of Siri lived in a bubble. They couldn't see your screen, couldn't remember what you talked about 5 minutes ago, and definitely couldn't connect information from different apps. This version can see your photos, read your messages, understand your calendar, and piece together what you're actually trying to do. Which frankly is what most people thought they were getting when they bought an iPhone in the first place. Apple is also launching this through something they call Apple Intelligence, which sounds like marketing speak but actually represents their approach to AI privacy. They're saying many of these features run directly on your device instead of sending everything to their servers. For the more complex requests that need cloud processing, Apple created what they call private cloud compute. The idea is that your data gets processed but not stored or used to train their models. Now let's talk about what this means for your actual life, because this isn't just about having cooler conversations with your phone. First, if you use Apple devices for work, this could genuinely change how much you get done. Instead of switching between 6 different apps to schedule a meeting, draft an email, and check your calendar, you might be able to just tell Siri what you want to accomplish. That sounds small, but those little context switches add up. Every time you stop what you're doing to manually hunt through apps, you lose momentum. A truly capable assistant could eliminate dozens of those interruptions every day. Second, this matters for people who aren't comfortable with tech. One of the biggest barriers to using AI tools is that they require you to know how to write good prompts and navigate unfamiliar interfaces. But everyone already knows how to talk to Siri, even if Siri hasn't been great at talking back. If Apple can make this work seamlessly, it could be the first AI assistant that your parents, your kids, and your least tech-savvy coworker can actually use productively. Third, let's talk about the privacy angle. Most AI assistants require you to create accounts, upload your data to various companies, and trust that they're handling your information responsibly. Apple's approach keeps more of your data on your device. That matters if you're using AI for sensitive work emails, family photos, or personal documents. You're not sending your private conversations to ChatGPT's servers every time you want help with something. But here's the reality check. Apple has promised revolutionary Siri updates before. Remember when Siri was supposed to understand natural language perfectly? Or when it was going to integrate seamlessly with third-party apps? The difference this time might be that Apple is finally building on the same foundation as other AI companies. Previous Siri updates were trying to fake intelligence with clever programming. This version is using actual language models that can genuinely understand context and generate helpful responses. Still, there's a gap between what works in a keynote demo and what works when you're trying to use it in a noisy coffee shop or while you're driving. The other question is capability. Apple is prioritizing privacy and device integration, which is great, but that might mean their AI isn't as powerful as what you can get from ChatGPT or Claude when you need to tackle really complex problems. It's the classic Apple trade-off: elegance and privacy versus raw capability. For most people's daily needs, elegance might win. For power users who want the most advanced AI possible, they might still need to use dedicated AI tools for their hardest problems. So what can you actually do with this information right now? Start by auditing your current relationship with Siri. Pull out your phone and try asking it to help you with something you do regularly. Maybe organizing your photos, summarizing your recent messages, or helping you plan your day. Pay attention to where it falls short. Does it not understand what you're asking? Can it see the information you're looking at? Does it make you repeat yourself or start over when the conversation gets complex? Those pain points are exactly what the new Siri AI is designed to fix. So when the update arrives, those are the first things to test. Second, start thinking about your repetitive tasks differently. Instead of, I need to check my calendar, then text 3 people, then set a reminder, start thinking, I need to coordinate this weekend's plans. The more you can think in terms of goals instead of individual app actions, the more useful a capable AI assistant becomes. Third, if you're serious about staying ahead of this stuff, start playing with ChatGPT or Claude on your computer right now. Learn how to have productive conversations with AI. Figure out what works and what doesn't. The skills you develop with those tools will transfer directly to whatever Apple ships, and you'll have much better expectations for what's actually possible versus what's just marketing hype. Here's a specific thing to try. Pick one routine task you do on your phone every morning. Maybe it's checking your calendar and weather, or reviewing important messages, or planning your commute. Try describing that entire routine out loud as if you were talking to a perfect assistant. Good morning, I need to know what my day looks like, if there's anything urgent I missed overnight, and the best time to leave for my first meeting. That's the kind of request the new Siri is supposed to handle, and practicing that kind of thinking now will help you take advantage of it immediately when it launches. Apple says Siri AI will roll out in English first, then expand to other languages. No specific timeline yet, but given that this was their big developer conference announcement, expect it in the next few months. The bigger picture here is that AI is moving from specialty apps into the tools you already use every day. Your phone, your computer, your work software. That's actually huge because it means you won't need to learn new interfaces or change your habits to benefit from AI. But it also means the companies that control those platforms, Apple, Microsoft, Google, they're going to have enormous influence over how most people experience AI. Which is why this Siri update matters. Even if you're not planning to use it, it's setting expectations for what normal people think AI assistants should do. The race isn't just about who builds the smartest AI anymore, it's about who can make AI feel like a natural part of the tools you can't live without. And Apple just made a very serious move in that direction. That's today's AI in 10. If you want to go deeper and learn AI with a community of people just like you, join us at aihammock.com. I'll see you tomorrow, my friends.